Beautiful people, we are on and we are live.
Yes, yes, yes.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all, we are on this thing and I'm excited because I have some really dope people with us today. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. And I don't know if they can see what order they are in, but I can see. All right. So I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and then we're gonna get this evening started. So today I wanted to make today all about the men. I just want to make sure that we have some really solid people that are on here and I appreciate them so much. So much for coming up here and joining me. Some of them I had to give a pep talk, but some of them just really freely came up here. And I'm gonna tell y'all, Dom, I appreciate you, sir. So if he skip off a little bit, just know He's he's solid. He's solid. He got a few things going on. He's solid, and I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. Dom, I'm gonna start with you, and then we're gonna go on through. All right, go
Okay.
for it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dominic Wright, as you can see on the screen, and I am excited to share tonight with my sister Katrina and these great guys. I am the guy on the panel that is currently pursuing, so that would be me. And I'm just looking forward to a great conversation. So,
Sweet.
yep,
Yep, you muted. Go ahead for it.
he muted. Yep.
Okay, my bad. I got you. My name is Juante Wright. Me and Dominic might be brothers, cousins, something
In real life.
possibly. Right. It's an honor to be up here. I'm humbled for the invite, and I look forward to an awesome conversation and building and sharing and receiving at the same time. And I'm pursuing also.
All right,
That's
CJ.
me.
Yep.
Oh, CJ.
Go ahead, Tim. You go ahead, Timothy. You good, man?
Okay. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Tim. Uh, I'm over the men's ministry at my church. I am the one on the panel that's married. Been married 13 years, and I love me some of my baby. So I think I'm gonna be coming a lot from a married man's perspective on here.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Curtis Jevier. I go by CJ. So I am single. But I am more in the searching, category as well. So yeah. And when I say
Okay.
self-searching than anything instead of
All right, sweet. I love it. I love it. I want to say this before we get started. Everybody that's on this panel, I have the utmost respect for them because I feel like they are genuine people, and I most definitely would not have gotten them up here if I did not feel that for each of them. And I feel like each and every one of them has a lot to deposit into this. So y'all freely come forth, come out with it. Um, Even if you have questions for me, because I'm standing here in proxy for the women, and even though I know their questions are going to pop up on the screen, I'm just saying, just ask the questions and we're gonna freely open it. And as questions pop up, I'm gonna shoot them out to y'all so y'all can answer as well. All right.
Good.
All right, y'all ready? Now, Dom, he heard some of these questions in advance. The rest of y'all just go with the flow.
what?
Gotta be on time. Gotta be on time.
Ain't that
Gotta
something?
be on time. You know what I'm saying?
They
That's
just
what
put us on the
happens in
spot
life.
like that,
Wow.
didn't they?
Right.
That's what
Gotta
happens
be on
in life.
time.
All right. So for the first question, it has, what is the biggest life lesson that you've learned this far in life? The biggest life lesson that you've learned thus far. Anybody can go. Don't even matter. Whoever ready for it. Go ahead, Dom.
I will say the lesson that I'm currently dealing with is that your life is only as good as your boundaries. And
Mm,
so the areas that you're willing to fortify determine your altitude, whether it's relationally, personally, spiritually, emotionally. Like boundaries are your friend. They're your support outside of your support system.
Mm.
And
that's good.
yeah, without them, you're susceptible to anything. So
That's
yeah,
That's
good.
good.
That's good.
That's good.
So I'm gonna let them go, but I'm gonna ask you a question.
okay.
When you saying like spiritually, what is that boundary that you've learned is spiritual wise?
Mm. Okay, so quick background. I'm not gonna take too much time. I'm a musician by trade, and so one of the things that I have learned is that every opportunity is not my opportunity.
Mm,
Every house is not my house. And while I may want to share my gift, I have to be very conscious of the places that I go, and the things that I do. I also have to be conscious of what I allow into my gates. And one of the things that I always tell people, you have to guard your gates. There's a level of sensitivity that you need, especially we're talking about, relationships and dating and things, but you have to
mm-hmm.
fortify yourself before you can lead someone else. And while it's a daily journey, you
That's
have
tough.
to be mindful of your appetite, what you're constantly ingesting and feeding yourself, whether it be through prayer, whether it be through the things that you listen to, the people you surround yourself with. And that's a boundary as well, that can affect you spiritually. Um, Connect yourself to people that have the mindset and the appetite for where you desire to go.
That's
So,
good. Come on, sir. You better preach it there, sir.
That's good. That's good.
Come on with it.
Yeah, that's good.
All right,
I like
who's
that.
next?
There you go.
All right, Tim.
So,
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned uh,
is to be the man that God desires for me to be, uh, because I pursue
that I pursue being the man God wants me to be because that's what I desire.
not because I'm doing it so that I can get something or someone or to get to
Mm-hmm.
a certain place, but I pursue uh, genuine manhood from the Lord, and as a result of that,
Then I will.
get what God has for me.
I messed up on that. I did it the other way, and I tried to be the
Man that my wife needed me to be the man that,
my ministry needed me to be, uh,
and as a result of that, I was falling
short. Uh,
and I learned to pursue authentic manhood based off what God says, and everything else falls in place. That makes sense.
Okay, young Timothy. Okay, sir. I hear you.
That's good.
Next.
You want to go ahead, brothers?
Wante, he said, go for
my
it.
cousin, because
Okay, I will. So, my biggest life lesson is that if we don't allow, if we don't go according to the blueprints, that things won't be right. According to the original design of a relationship. Um, and I like it goes hand in hand with what Dominic said. Also, it starts with us individually first. You know, um, allowing God to grow us, fortify us, get us to a certain place to where we could recognize or approach things from a balanced place. Um, yeah, uh, not to try to be preaching anything, but that one verse is my favorite verse where it says, "Except the Lord be the builder of the house,
Come on.
they who labor in vain." So that's my biggest life lesson. You can't do it without blueprints.
Come on, sir. CJ.
Hey, so for me, Trina, I know we had this conversation
We
a
did.
2 days ago. When I came on initially, I said I'm in the searching process, and it wasn't, searching for relationship or anything like that. It was more, self-searching. So for me, my, lesson would be more of understanding who you are. You know what I mean? You kind of said it, Dominic. I'm understanding who you are before you go out there and try to do anything with anyone in general.
Right.
Whether it's relationship, whether it's mentoring, whatever the case may be, you cannot pour out of an empty cup. And that is where, I kind of had to sit down for a while. I was all over the place, and basically I had to come to the realization of, hey, you're doing, you're out there, I'm saying, in the world, but basically you don't know who you are. So I have to stop, and realize, I'm saying, who I am and what I have to give before I interact with people. So that's where I'm at right now, trying new things, just trying to find out who I am. I was in the military 21 years, and for me, it was just a constant work home, all the time. But now I'm retired. Now I sit down and everything stops, and it's like, who are you? You know what I mean? That question right there, who are you? What do you want to do? Not what people around you used to do, because they're not around anymore. What do you want to do? And that is a very difficult thing that I'm going through right now. So for me, knowing understanding who you are.
I'm gonna tell you something. Real facts. As a female, we can tell when a man knows who he is and not. Because we can tell, if we can sit down with the man and have a conversation, and
True.
we know if you even have a game plan in your life, we know if you are going in any particular direction. And 9 times out of 10, if a man ever have a female to flake on you or not call you back, it's because she realized in the first conversation that she had with you, maybe not the first, but anytime that conversation, next 2 or 3 conversations up, that you don't know what you're doing.
Well, Trina, I was that 1%. You know what I mean? You said 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? With that game. You know what I mean? I'll talk it up to you. Hey, yeah, some of the stuff. I'll just say, hey, I'm working on it, whatever it may be, and allow things to go. Wherever it goes. Until whether that truth comes out, or I realize, like, hey, I'm not where I need to be, then all of a sudden, the cycle repeats. You know what I mean? The cycle repeats over and over again. So, getting in and out of areas, I was very good at that. Just letting you know.
So were you able to be consistent?
Of course I was
consistent. In and out of them areas?
I mean, of course, you know what I mean? Because it's not like I'm all over the place all the time. Once I'm focused, I'm going for, whatever. Let's say I see someone, I like, let's say relationship wise, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. Some people, it's not all the time. Like, I can tell you what you want to hear, and I could maneuver, to get where I needed to be. Just leave it at that.
I get what you're saying.
Right.
I get what you're saying. But it's only going to last but for so much, buddy. I'm just saying. All right. So going to the next question. All right. If you can define love, and I hear everybody where they are in life as far as their lesson they've learned, and it sounds like some of y'all learned some hard lessons when it came to relationships. Well, if you could define love, what does love look like to you? Timmy, let's start with you, buddy. You're the biggest one right now.
What love looks like to me, genuine, honest. Yeah, I gotta stick with that honest factor. Love is honest in every way, in every form. For me, man, I didn't understand love because everything that I built love on was a lie. I thought I did. I thought I knew what love was, until God really had to make me face some really harsh realities about myself, and then it allowed me to really understand that, I wasn't capable of really understanding what love actually was. You know what I'm saying? And because I didn't understand it, I couldn't love people properly. I couldn't understand. I couldn't tell when people were genuinely trying to love me, And so for me, I think it's honesty, being honest with yourself and laying that all out to the Lord, and allowing the Lord to mold you and shape you in that truth of what He says love is. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah. What's that? Okay, Dom. He's brave.
Wait. While Tim was talking, I kept trying to find a way to, I guess, define it based on where I am now. And I would say that love is selfless authenticity. Because first of all, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. And I will say that is probably another one of the hardest lessons that I've learned. But you can only love yourself if you're authentic. And
Come on,
so
sir.
selfless authenticity will probably be my definition of love. And in a relational sense, as you constantly giving yourself as you are in whatever phase or stage you find yourself, and allowing that person to embrace that as you navigate it together. So selfless authenticity would be my response.
That's good.
Mm. Kind of hard to follow.
Juante, CJ.
I know, right?
Hard to follow that. You know what I mean? Y'all go.
He practiced.
Hey, look, he was early.
This dude was fasting today. You ain't telling me nothing.
Hey, again, I thought I knew what it was. You know what I mean? But like you said, if it's selfless,
Mm.
and I'm looking for me, it's hard for me to give myself to someone when, you know what I mean, I don't understand what it is to love. What I thought was what I thought was love was all in the physical. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't provide. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was a false pretense. I couldn't lead. So and that's all personal, right? So
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? But
Go ahead and cry. Go cry, CJ.
I couldn't lead. So those are some of the things that goes into that, and
That's good.
get that to self, and
Mhm.
and learning that there are things that you're missing. You know what I mean? Before you move forward, I have to learn that before I can say I'm good.
That's good.
So, I was trying to think of what I would say the entire time. So, I know they say we're supposed to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, but at the same time, in order to even know how to love ourselves, they go back to the blueprints again. Because sometimes we don't treat ourselves right or love ourselves, and as a result, we don't treat the next person the same way. So,
Mm-hmm.
love most definitely is an action word. Um, there's no manipulation in it. There's hope in love. There's no discouragement. I think it says, uh, yeah, there's no fear in love, but love casts out all fear. Um, upon our walking in it and applying love and showing love, and yeah, it's most definitely an action word. But in order to get to that place where we properly love ourselves, we got to love Him first, so He can show us how to love.
Facts. I'm gonna tell y'all something. So, truth and reality is, I was married for 11 years. Never experienced love. That's real. So, the reality of it, I knew from the beginning I was not supposed to marry. God even sent dreams, visions, prophets, don't do it. And I did it anyway.
Hmm.
And I'm saying all this for a reason. I feel like kind of tied into where we were talking about purpose and understanding who we are. The main component is once you understand who you are, your purpose, you cannot connect to anybody because it's going to be hard to love somebody when you're not even confident that this is the person that you're supposed to be with. You know what I'm
That's true.
saying? So once you define yourself, you find yourself, you know your purpose and who you are, that is when you should make sure you're connecting to the one that God has assigned to you. Me, I'm a person so truth in and out that you have to seek God on who you're supposed to connect with. That's just me. Some people believe whomever, it'll just work out. That is not me. Because I feel like there's a particular plan that God has for me, a particular time that I need to be somewhere, and I need somebody that can connect it and will not hinder where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? So the importance of getting there and getting with the right person is A1 for me. A1. Go ahead, CJ.
How did you know you weren't loved? You know what I mean? But
Because I
because what if he was loving you, however, he didn't know how to love you. So what he thought he was doing, hear me out. What he thought was love, again, you know, you didn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same love language. And I'm not talking about quality time and stuff like that, but you know, he was doing what he thought was loving you, but it wasn't real love, you know what I'm saying? As the communication aspect, you wasn't receiving it because it was possibly flawed.
Well, I'm not speaking from the standpoint of what that person was doing. I'm speaking from the standpoint of myself, of me loving somebody, not necessarily coming in, but from me, myself, loving out. I was okay if that person walked away or that person left. Did I lose sleep? Nah. You know what I'm saying? Because my heart wasn't in it from the beginning, because I always felt like this just was not it. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that God was not pleased with what I did. That's just me. That's just me. If you already know God did not put his stamp of approval on it, you know it. You know when God did not put his stamp of approval on something. I did not get that stamp of approval. And on top of that, all of that I had to deal with because of my disobedience and walking into something that God told me not to was overwhelming. And that compounded on top of me feeling like I made a mistake. So then you have hurt, you have rejection, you have fear, everything else that is compounded on top of it. And honestly, I felt like I probably did him an injustice for me even going forth with something that I knew that God said no from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, so looking at it that way, I was unfair to him. Whether he was seeking God or not, I knew what God said. You know what I mean? But I just had to get that tidbit on the love perspective.
That was good.
Go ahead, CJ.
I mean, I'm gonna keep asking because so you had the dream, you had the visions. What made you to do it? You see what I'm saying?
I was young, and if you're putting leadership in the place of God, and your leadership say you need to go ahead and move forward in this because y'all been together this amount of time, you need to go ahead and go get married. Do it.
Pressure.
And because if you're not that grounded in God to hear God's voice and be confident in what you know God is saying, and you're flexed anyway, and you put man in the place of God, and then they said, and you're like, well, this got to be right because such and such said it. You know, I don't want to be saying no name. You know what I'm saying? Because such and such said it, then you're going to go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? If you don't put leadership and put people in the place that they need to be and put God where he needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if I feel like that is where I feel like God is pleased, if I'm doing what my leader tells me to do, then of course I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Understood.
I'm just saying.
This is good. I like this.
All right, but let me get off of me and get back on the men. All right, so kind of talking about what we're talking about, purpose and everything. Do you feel like it's important of whatever female, and Tim, I know he's married, was important for you to make sure your wife is in their purpose and that it aligns with yours? Or is it more like you got your purpose, they have theirs, and as long as you guys are working it, it works? Like, how does this work from your perspective?
All right.
Or what you desire for those that aren't in relationships?
Ask the question again, because I want to make sure I answer it the right way. Ask it again.
All right. So
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like it's important for your mate to be walking in their purpose and to know who they are, and for it to match with your purpose, or at least kind of?
Okay. So if I'm understanding it, yeah, absolutely. Let's see if I say this. My wife's purpose didn't change because we got married. You know, the anointing and the calling on her life didn't change when they got married. If anything, when she got tied to me, you know, it created an amazing product that will just catapult her, help through the Lord. It will help catapult her into her purpose and destiny, and vice versa. Nothing about my anointing and nothing about my calling or my purpose changes because I got married to her. Because before I said I do to her, I should have said I do to the Lord. And if I said I do to the Lord, then I'm not gonna get tied in with somebody that will go against what God has for my life, because that's that whole if you be in me, I be in you thing right there. I'm not, and if I love the Lord, never mind me loving my wife, and anybody that know me and my wife know, man, that's my baby, right? But never mind, you know, my wife, if I love the Lord, I won't do anything to pull her or take her off track. If anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to seek the Lord. The Lord show me what I can do to help her get to where her purpose and destiny is in you. And I thank God for allowing me to be connected to her to help her get there. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Did that answer? I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Most definitely. That's deep. That's deep. All right. Who's next?
I can go. Hey,
All right, CJ.
so from my perspective, I'm not married, and I was out here in these streets, as people may say. But honestly, yeah, I would hope if I go in there, you know what I mean, she has her stuff together, and I don't, I'm wasting her time. Plain and simple, I'm wasting her time. You know what I mean? Because she has a purpose. You know what I'm saying? She has vision. She has everything. I'm just there. You know what I mean? I'm trying to play catch up or try to fill that void. But when it doesn't work out, it's broken. You know what I'm saying? Trust. All that stuff for the other people is back to square one, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if we're not on the same purpose, if we're not on the same track, basically we're just wasting each other's time. Plain and simple. I'm trying to have a good time, but I'm wasting time, really.
Yeah. Go for it. Yes,
Forgive
sir.
answers are kind of, but that's just the honest
That
truth.
was good.
I'm wasting time.
That's real.
That's
That's
real. Let somebody else go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
true. Dom said, go ahead,
Yeah.
bro.
Well, it was so, but because what he's saying, that's real right there, right? Because if and I'm gonna tell you, and let me just throw a little transparency out here. I didn't date the right way. I didn't, and I thank God for his grace and his mercy. You go, jump into Romans. Paul talks about that grace heavily, right? But let me tell you something, if I'm not together as a man before I try and attach myself to her, what good am I as a head over her when I bring and I marry her? And if she ain't together, like what he was talking about, and if how can she be a helpmate to me? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
If I'm not secure in what God is calling me to, or in my relationship with God, right, to grow me into that authentic man, right? I shouldn't be out here trying to connect myself to anybody anyway, because that's damage. That's a
That's good.
that's a that's a train that's a wreck, that's a crash waiting to happen, because now I done took her and said, hey, I got you. Come on over here. Will you marry me? Come on over here. I say, I got you, right? But I ain't got myself together. So now she come over to me looking for me to give her a hand when I can't even help myself. I don't even really understand who I am or what I'm supposed to be doing as a man. And then I attach myself to her, and vice versa. You get what I'm saying? If I got myself together, and if I'm if I'm in tune with the Lord and doing what he told me to do, I'm not finna try and attach myself to you no way. You know what I'm saying? No. I don't know if that, you get what I'm saying?
This is
Yes, sir.
why. This is why, when people I look at podcasts and people say, "What do you bring to the table?" It kind of throws me off a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, how about we both bring our tables? You know what I'm saying? And make it work. Because you said, "What do you bring to the table?" It sounds like I'm showing up with my plate and my cups and what I'm saying, my dessert, while you got a whole table. So guess what? One person has purpose, the table, and the other person is showing up with little trinkets, right? How about we bring our both you know, foundation, right? You know what I'm saying? 30, so we can both move forward. You know, just my 2 cents.
Okay, Portia. She talking now. Come on now. But yeah, I'm gonna let Dom and Juante come, but I'm gonna say something real quick. I think no one should be out here in these streets if you have not tapped into your purpose. Because at some point in time, when you finally click it, it finally clicks, and that's fine. And you find out later, this person does not even align to where I'm going. I feel like if I pursue what God has called me to do, I'm gonna slow this person down. You shouldn't be even in these streets. That's something, I don't know if Tim, I think it was that you said, or you or CJ, one of y'all said it. As far as just kind of stepping back out of this dating scene, but that comes with maturity. Maturity says, okay, I may be feeling a little lonely. I may want attention. I may want to be out there, but in reality, I probably need to pull back in this season and kind of get myself where I need to be so that I could be where I'm called to be. But as a female, and I'm telling you, even now for me, even though I have my purpose, I have a longing and a desire to assist and help my spouse. The one that God called me to do, ideas run through my head as far as what I could do to help that person. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how God designed and created me to be a helpmate. You know what I'm saying? Everything about who I am is totally customized to the person God designed for me. And it will click right along with what I'm doing. But purpose is very important. Very, very important. All right. Dom. Juante, I think he
They've already
loves
said so much, so it's hard for me to even try to come behind that. What I kind of want, what angle I kind of wanted to speak from is you cannot lose sight of your why. One of the things, just from a personal note, that I feel hindered me most was that when I would get in relationships time and time again, I would lose sight of my why. It's like, I'm interested. We look good together. We talk. I'm talking about like pillow talking all day long, texting, lovey-dovey, you know, close proximity, long distance. It don't matter. Like giving that energy. We're doing a little cute post. All the PDA, you know what I'm saying? I'm pulling up, you pulling up, and then it will be the moments when life would get real and everything that you were projecting for everybody else wasn't the case. And you realize that you allowed social media and the things that you allowed into your gates to direct or to lead your relationship. And so then you lost sight of your why together, but then sometimes you lose sight of your why for yourself because now we're already lost in the wave of how everybody else sees us. And then that's pulling us down individually because I'm so focused on I don't want to lose this because, you know, I know why we started. I know how good it used to be. Maybe we can get that back. The other part I wanted to speak to too, sometimes your purpose can shift. And while you may be pursuing someone for whatever the initial reason is, life does happen. And while the general purpose may still be the same, the purpose of that particular relationship might not be what you thought it initially was. And to CJ's point, before I damage you and take you down, maturity tells me, yeah, let me go ahead and put my pride to the side so that we both can have peace because now it's just contention. And every time we try to plow, we can't because it just doesn't work. There are good moments, but it just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? And at what point do you focus on the fruit of the relationship to see what's there versus the facade that you're trying to portray to everybody else? So
that's good.
Wow.
That's good. Come on, sir. You was
I'm like,
I could tell you was on the face. You was on the flow.
That was good for real. And I know y'all see me doing a lot of moving. I just did Bible study at the same time, so I'm trying to multitask a little bit. So understanding the reason for marriage, I think, is so important because, you know, without knowing that reason, we can think that it's just for pleasure, and it's way bigger than that. Like it's actually for ministry. We complement each other.
That's good.
So knowing each other's purposes, knowing who you label with, all those things are important. And I don't know. They said a lot. I don't know how to come with that. But knowing the purpose, the real reason for being married is really, really important. We can't be with just anybody. It has to be that person that complements us.
Facts. Facts.
I'll give a it's a little story basically, but life is so funny. I found myself in a position one time where, I was praying, you know what I'm saying? I was praying for this right person, and someone came along, and the way everything happened, you know what I'm saying, it was so quick. It was like it was almost to the point where that was, that was the person, but then you forget, you know what I'm saying, that you forget where you were at one point where you were asking for this person, right? You start to let things not appreciate things, kind of. Before you know it, you know what I'm saying, stuff is bad, and then all of a sudden it's gone. But then you know what I'm saying, you came back almost like it's like, man, you know what? I wasn't grounded, right? You know what I'm saying? I was there to pray, and when it came, you know what I'm saying, it's almost like forgetting to say thanks. You know what I mean? Forgetting to appreciate, what the situation is, right? So again, not being centered, not being anchored. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Another one. You know what I'm saying? Another one in the wind.
That's facts. That's facts. But honestly, I feel like everybody has been to that point in time where, like you're saying, we're praying and we're believing and asking God for certain things, and then things just kind of take a shift. But I think something that I think everybody kind of said, that point that we really have to become grounded and get ourselves focused and aligned with God to allow him to walk us through those seasons and times. I'm going to tell y'all something. One thing I am learning, when I pray without a name, and I'm saying this for the people that are single, and I'm saying, when I pray without a name and I keep my feelings out of it, but I pray God's will for the one that he has designed and purpose for me, that's when things start shifting. But I have to make sure I pray, and also, God, allow my heart and my mind to align to what your purpose and your plan is, but not according to what I want. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes we'll pray and we'll be putting our mind and our focus on a particular person. And in reality, even though we may really be feeling that person, but that's not who God has assigned and called for us. And we get thrown off that way. And we get so thrown off and feel like we've missed God. But in reality, you really didn't miss God, but you just had your feelings and emotions wrapped in the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell everybody out there, those that are single, pray without a name. Keep your thoughts and your feelings and emotions out of it, because this life, and I'm learning, I cannot be all about myself. Whatever God wants, because that's when I start aligning to purpose. That's when I start aligning with ministry, where God wants me to. And God will start putting the right people in front of you. And you will be satisfied when once you connect with the one that God called you, your satisfaction will be, that mark will be checked off. And I think all the confusion and everything comes with something that Don was saying with the why, how that you will have times will be tested. But if you're praying and you're really seeking God as you should during those times, your why will be answered.
Mm-hmm.
And it will remind you, okay, this is your purpose. This is the one God has assigned. And for this reason, you know what I'm saying, to kind of get through those quirks and those ups and downs that we experience through those times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Y'all ready for the next one? And then we're gonna back on out of this thing, because we are past that time. All right. So, marriage. What does marriage look like to each of you?
I'm out.
What does marriage look like to each of you? We said go to Tim first. Tim, everybody said go to you first, bro.
I mean, he already married, so it just makes sense.
Right. This
Look, he said that guy. No, you know what, man? What does marriage look like to me is the question.
Yes.
Man, let me tell you something. If you had asked me this question 5 years ago, it would have been a different answer. Asked me 10 years ago, it would have been another answer, you know. And let me tell you, what it looks like to me: sacrifice, understanding, and communication. And I'll tell you why I say those three things.
Woo.
Sacrifice, because you're not married to yourself. You know, you're not married to yourself. And as a man, and this is easy for me now. Lord, Father, I thank you, God, for what you've done in my life. I had to put that out there right quick. You know,
better do that.
This is for me to say, hey, sacrifice. It's easy now because, you know, I'm not thinking about myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know, I'm not just, you know, thinking about what I want. I'm not thinking about what I can do. I'm not thinking about, you know, what I can fix. I'm not thinking about what I bring to the table. I'm thinking about what God has brought together. And I'm thinking about what she has. And and you know something, boy, we ain't got enough time to dive into this one. Man, let me tell you something. This is serious, right? Sacrifice in a sense of me allowing God to make the changes in me that needed to be made so that I can submit myself to my wife, so that I can lead her. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, right? And communication when it comes to, let me tell you something. One of the hardest things for men to do is talk. You know, it's hard for us to talk.
That is true.
But you know what though? It's hard for us to talk, and I'm gonna throw a word out there, fellas, and don't get mad at me. Let me tell you what God has showed me, right? God has showed me, Tim, and as masculine as I felt like I thought I was the man's man, you understand? But God showed me how passive I was. He showed me how passive and how weak I was because I wasn't able to effectively communicate, right? I wasn't able to effectively communicate because I didn't allow the Lord to show me how. I didn't humble myself to the Lord for him to be able to make the corrections in my life to make me the man that I need to be for my wife. Right? And when I did that, when I submitted myself to the Lord, then when I submitted myself to the Lord, he showed me. First what he did, he showed me where I was failing and where I was falling at. He said, hey, let me show you where you're screwing up at. And that was hard, right? But I gave that to the Lord. And then I was able to humble myself and communicate with my wife and say, hey, listen, I gotta apologize to you. Let me tell you where I'm messed up at. And as men, if we're able to, it's not a weak thing for us to talk. It's not weak for us to admit where we messed up at. It's not weak for us to admit what I don't know, right? Because you're my helpmate. Hey, let's take this thing to the Lord so that I can be the leader or be the man that I need to be to you. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I hope that makes sense, you know, but I'm going to stop talking. But that whole question in itself, man, you need to write that one down. And then we talk about that one question. That's about an hour long right there. But okay, go ahead. Who else got something to say? Let me mute my mic. Go ahead, y'all.
All right. Do I have to y'all want to pick? CJ.
What's up?
What does marriage look like to you?
Well, you know, I mean, I've never been married. You know what I mean?
Right. Just from your perspective.
But can you come back? You don't have to think about it. What he was saying, honestly, I just, you know, that's a whole lot.
I know, right? That's something to marinate on. Like that was real good. I like that.
I think he was saying something.
Can I say something, right?
Go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dom. Go ahead, Dom, because this is about this.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
You know,
I can't speak to something I've never experienced. That's my disclaimer. But as Tim was talking, my one word for marriage in this season is safety. Nothing else
Yeah,
matters if I don't have safety. And I think
that's good.
the one thing that I look at from every relationship that I've ever been in is like, it didn't work where I did not consistently feel safe or I did not consistently provide safety. So,
Mm,
foundation of safety would be marriage for me. Upon that safety, then we can build everything else. When you feel safe, you're open, you're transparent. So as men, we put the
that's good.
pride aside and we're willing to try to be better communicators consistently. um, because the premise or the intention is set on safety. Um, Ironically, in relationships, I have this thing that I picked up like 14 years ago, and I call it blunt corner. Whenever I say blunt corner, it's saying we're literally letting our guards down, and this is a no judgment zone. Whatever I have to share, whatever you have to share, we're going
That's
to put
good.
it out in the open, and we're committed to working through it, even if it's a situation that we might not have an answer or a response to in this moment. At least it's on the table. And whether that means we got to step aside, or I got to go in prayer, you got to go in prayer, or we go in prayer together, however we got to handle it, we promise to come back to it with the same lens that we shared it with. So for me, marriage, safety,
That's
consistency.
good.
I'm not looking for perfection anymore the way that I always felt. I'm a natural perfectionist. And that's something that the Lord is killing daily because I think a lot of the times growing up, now I'll just speak for myself, I came from a household where you can't bring home anything less than straight A's. Like, you got to have perfect attendance. You got to get it right the first time. And this was
My
outside of
God.
everything I did in church as a kid. Like, we were taught to meet a certain standard, and it was projected on us so heavily that anything less than felt like failure. So then we
Right.
transcend that into relationships, into friendships, into pursuing our dreams and pursuing our purpose. And anytime we fall short because of humanity, we feel like failure. So letting go of that lens of it's got to be
That's
perfect,
good.
it's got to always make sense, it's got to always work because my intention was for it to work. And it's like, I'm not the one necessarily leading this anyway. I got somebody I got to answer to, and you trust that as I continue to answer to him, I can guide us. But to Tim's point, you have to be um, open. You can't be so passive in your pride and so stuck on I got a plan and I'm the man and I'm the husband and I'm the father and I got to lead our house. Like, somebody has to have their ear to the father for the family. And
That's good.
so I look at that, having consistency, um, checking in, the importance of checking in, making those moments for us to have those dialogues, putting those
Come on.
electronics and that social media to the side. One of the things I
Preach it.
appreciated growing up, when you came to the dinner table, it wasn't no Game Boy, it wasn't no TV. We didn't even have phones. Like, it was literally, how was your day? You're gonna learn how to conversate. You're going to learn
That's
how to have
good.
an intellectual conversation. You're going to learn how to express yourself in an open forum at home. So anytime you step outside of the space, you know how to do the same. You know how to carry yourself. And I feel like that's just as important in the marriage. I want to be married to my best friend. I also want to be her best friend. But that only happens if we continue to be open. And understand that in the safety of our home, I'm talking to you and you're talking to me. You're not talking to my purpose. You're not talking to my role, my representative. Like, you're talking to me. I don't have to be guarded with you.
Come
At least I
on.
shouldn't be, because safety is the foundation.
Come on.
So safety, consistency, communication, openness, intention. One of the things that I constantly fall short on is I can be intentional about my itinerary. I can be intentional about my commitments to people because I take my word very seriously. But I have to have that
That's good.
same level of intention in my relationships. If I say, you know what, this is what we're gonna do, um, okay, boom. When you're pursuing somebody, you give a certain level of energy to, yo, I gotta pull up, I gotta be there. I want to see you. So on Friday, 7 p.m., I'm coming to scoop you up. We going here. We got plans. That does not change the moment you give someone your last name as a man.
Come
Um,
on.
And so that's important, making her feel that same level of interest, that same level of intention. If anything, she gets all of that. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that you did, and even the stuff that you were afraid to do, because I don't know if I'm gonna get my heart hurt. Like, no, you get all the energy. Because the other part is when you pour that one to her, what she's gonna pour back into you is literally going to catapult you. I think Tim said it earlier, catapult you into your purpose. And so all of those things go hand in hand. For me, that's what marriage looks like. Marriage looks like a consistent flow of safety with open communication and intention, just period. And that selfless authenticity as well. Because as I continue to be selfless, I'm going to continue to cover us in the way that I'm supposed to. And as I continue to be authentic, you can trust me because God can trust me. And that's that.
His book will be coming out soon, people.
I want
I'm
the first
finna
copy.
say, let me put. Hey, go give me a signed copy, Doc. Hallelujah.
I know, right? Please send me a
Okay,
copy.
girl.
Next topic, because we're not talking.
Okay.
Next topic.
This dude will be
we-
dropping
Ain't
that.
nobody going behind that.
Yeah, that topic is
I love
covered.
it.
Right, right. Next topic.
Man, look, but you gonna tell you something. It's something that you said that when you pour in, we have no other choice as women but to give out, and that's just how we are created. When you pour into that, it's gonna come back. It's going to come back. If it does not come back, she was not ready for marriage.
You better say that.
If it does not come back, she was not ready for marriage. That's why you have to know who you are jumping in with. When you start, ask the right questions, say the right things, get to the nitty gritty. Like Dom said something, and that was key when he said blunt corner. The blunt corner. That means at this point in time, I gotta say this. I'm gonna get off what's on my chest. I'm gonna ask this question, but on this blunt corner, I need you to answer truthfully. If the person cannot do that or they're offended about your blunt corner, well, they ain't ready.
No,
They're not
they
ready.
ain't ready.
They're not ready.
It was
They ain't ready for it. But I appreciate you guys so much. We're gonna have to do this another time because I really appreciate it.
Most definitely reading my mind.
I appreciate you. Juante, did you want to say something? I didn't want to skip over you, sir. You and CJ.
Nah, I'm good. I feel real good about this.
Juante, if you got me talking, everybody gonna say something on this game.
I saw somebody put in the chat that it's a partnership, but that I totally agree. And that partnership does start with the foundation, and there have to be that safety, like for real. People being able to be open. That's the only way it's gonna work. Being open, being who we are, instead of our representative, and it gives that person a chance, the opportunity to choose. Okay, I think this a fit, or nah, I don't think this a fit, because it leaves room for a person to choose instead of having to sort through everything. Yeah.
Sir, listen, I'm gonna have to get this. Not long ago, I had a conversation with somebody, and I asked them a question, and they did not want to give me the answer, so they left it open. I walked so quickly, and I slammed that door behind me.
No, that's
Answer
right.
the question honestly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, CJ, my bad. Go for it.
Oh shoot! Y'all go. I was listening to what you were saying. I was listening.
I saw somebody put in the chat asking to expound upon the not ready piece.
Oh, about women not being ready. Man. Well, I'm gonna tell you as a female, if you ask basic questions as far as your purpose and everything else, and she's scattered all over the place, or she has no kind of insight or input into what you're saying, she's not ready. If y'all are, if you as a man, you're already in your purpose and you're talking and you're expounding and you're saying something and you're talking to her and she has no conversation about it at all, no input, it's kind of given. Some people think some people just not talkers. That's not true. That's not true.
Hey,
She's
that
not.
that
She's not the one.
that could be
This was really good.
about earlier, Dominic. Doing that, man. One thing I don't know if other people do it, but I start creating scenarios in my mind, right? So can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to create scenarios in my head, right? You know what I'm saying, about certain things. Or what I would do, the whole tit for tat thing, you know what I mean? So somebody do something, instead of bringing it out and communicating right there on the spot, be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? This is, check. You know what I'm saying? And like check, all right, and I will build all of that up, you know what I'm saying? And it could be something that's something small, you know what I'm saying? That straw to break the camel back, and all of a sudden, we're in an argument. Whereas, we could have communicated from Jump Street and get past small misunderstandings. A lot of times, I did that for a long, long, long time until I realized, like, as it's out there, you know what I'm saying, within, I would say, at least a couple of days, but I can't wait to hear the word perspective within
Absolutely.
like, I'm communicating that,
Same
right?
here.
If I keep it in, and I start building and building and building, before you know it, man, I'm like, you know what? All this stuff is going on, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm breaking, you know what I'm saying? So now we really have, you know what I'm saying, an argument. Well, I could have squashed it in the beginning.
That's facts. It ain't just you.
That's very important, you know what I'm saying?
Well, sure, you ain't the only one to do that. Well, yeah, facts and facts and facts. Most definitely. Man, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate every single one of you guys for jumping on, taking your time. I think Tim done bumped off. I don't know what happened to him.
Right.
But I really appreciate you guys for all of your help, for coming on. Dom, y'all, we're going to put a special prayer out for Dom. We're going to pray that God give you strength in your body to heal you for all that you poured out, that God will give back to you. Juante, CJ, Tim, I think all of y'all have dropped some nuggets. Everybody that's listening, please share this. Please, please, please share it. Because I feel like everything that was released on today was some solid nuggets that can be carried through. I appreciate you guys. I love y'all. Y'all hit them up. Did anybody have any businesses? I know, Dom, you have some business. Go ahead and drop a plug, sir.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dominic Wright, and my parent company is the Right Touch Enterprises. Of course, that consists of the Right Touch Music. I'm a musician by trade, and I have a full band. We do all kinds of events, not just church, secular events. I could really run the resume. I'm not going to do that tonight. But if you have any event and you want music, definitely hit my website, therightouchmusic.com. Right spelled like my last name. And then I also have a moving company, the Right Touch Moving. So if you're in need of movers, local and long distance, twtmoving.com. If you need that information as well, it's on my page, or you can just DM me. And I have my IG tag as well. So.
That's my cousin, yo.
CJ, Juante, anybody want to add anything else before you guys jump off?
I just want to say thank you. I was and
You breaking up.
I'm still.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
There you go. You good.
Now?
Yes.
Yep.
Just want to say thank you. That was about it, but I really feel that's the point of, the point of view is always good. And a lot of y'all.
Aw. Thank you, CJ. It means a lot. Juante, did you have something you want to say, sir? You got to put a plug in for your page too, sir.
First I want to say I appreciate this opportunity, and I apologize. I was moving a little bit or a lot, because I had Bible study at the same time. I'm an armor bearer at the same time, so I'm kind of making sure everything's good and stuff. So I do have a page on Facebook. The name of it is Keys to a Healthy Relationship. I think the flyer is up there for tonight, so it could be easily found.
Yes.
If not, I know Katrina can get it to you.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Appreciate you guys. everything that everybody's got and what they're doing. I appreciate y'all. Please share, share, share. We're on YouTube. The Single Life 23 is, if you need to find us, is on YouTube that way. Facebook, just follow me. I'm up here. Okay. Love y'all. Hit them up if you need them. Inbox me and I'll get you connected to the right people. Bye.
Peace.